Okay. Okay. In this session, we will see on adding a new field, custom field, or any other field to the coverage. So by default, we will have the channel type and severity. So in addition to this, if we want to add any other field, so we need to do some setup in subscription management setups. So for that, first I'll be going to subscription management. So if you are already using contracts management, so you will need to go to contracts management. But if it is a new implementation or new implementation, it will be by default with subscription management only. The same options will be available in contract management also. Can if we go to contracts, this was used earlier, but not now. Okay. Here, okay. So here we have manage availability, standard coverage, default coverage, right? So manage service mappings, manage metric classes, etc. So all of these, so we will be using in subscription management also. So if you go to subscription management and if we go to this configuration, subscription configuration tab, we can see manage availability, standard coverage, default coverage, manage algorithms, service mappings, metric classes, all here, right? Okay.
So what you're covering?
On. So usually we go to standard coverage and then so we will edit or we'll create a new coverage and then we'll add the fields. So here we have condition columns as severity and uh, channel type, right? So now if you want to introduce one more column here, so we need to edit the mappings and mappings and metric classes in subscription management. So now we'll see that setup. Okay. So if you click done and if you go to manage service mappings, so this task, manage service mappings, is a sandbox task. So we need to create a sandbox and then we need to proceed to make the changes. I'm going to create a sandbox. And select the manage service mappings and application composer if needed, and then click create. Okay. So now again go to subscription management. And from subscription management configuration tab. Okay, so again go to manage service mappings. So here now this task is editable and we need for service request, we need to use subscription entitlements. So this is for service request. So we need to choose this subscription entitlements. And then, so we have three tabs here: entities, sources, services. So each and every tab will list entitlement results, a service request, something like this, right? So in entitles, so we need to go to service request and then add our custom field here. So this is just defining something variable here. Okay, so let me, so it adds a new entry. I'll say service request type. Okay, so this is my field. And for custom fields, you will just need to add custom underscore custom. And then type choose as string. Okay, because the status will be string. So I have chosen it as string. Then go to the source tab and again click on service request. Okay. And if you come down, again there is service request details. Here again you will need to select service request tab, service request row, and then below you can see attribute mappings. Here create a new entry and select the one we created just now and give the attribute name here. So here if you type keyword, it will load and it will show the values. So I can see service request type underscore C as my field. I'll select this field. Next, in third tab, services, we go to service request again and add the selected field. I mean the created field in this entry. I'll select. We don't need to give any alias name here, and read should be checked, and write should be unchecked. Write should be unchecked always. Okay. Then save and close. So we have defined the attribute. We have defined this attribute is belongs to, I mean, to refer which field in which object. We defined that, but we have not used it in the coverage. To use that field in coverage, you will need to go to manage metric classes, subscription entitlements, and then here if you could see, there is already two fields, severity and channel type. So add one more entry and give the name. So again here it is free text, so we need to give, I'm giving the same as, I'm giving the label name. So based on that, it will populate the value. Then comparison. Okay, so you can choose the operator and then add the field. So in our case, our field is in service request type underscore custom. So if it is required, you can choose required, allow null. So null values also it all. So if it is null, then it means it acts as wildcard. That means it allows all the values. So that means it doesn't care what is the value. So if it is null, so it doesn't include in the conditions basically. So let's say we have in service request status, it is null, and severity code and channel type code is having are met. So in that case, so this it doesn't consider uh, status status type field in conditions. Okay, and in domain you can specify the type. So if you choose none, you can select date static data types, or if you want to show the drop down in while selecting the coverage column, right? So you can choose the lookup type and you can configure here. so that it will populate the pre-defined values. Otherwise, also we have view object query. If you want to refer some object, so we can select that object, and then we can provide the object name, key attribute, display, and view criteria, etc. So that the object details will come. So this is kind of we are showing something querying to object, and based on some criteria, it will show the values. Something similar to FCL and DCL. So the sample we can see here. So we have one here. If you go to this domain type, so we have view object query, subscription, application module, configuration, and view object is this, and key attribute, display name, view criteria, if any applicable, and data type. So this is how we will need to define the query. So once this change is completed, save and close, and then go to standard coverage. Now in premium coverage, so I wanted to add the custom field that I created. So now if I go to actions, I cannot remove this, right? I can't add these. So what we need to do, we need to remove all the entries current available, and then we need to add. Okay. Okay, let me check if this is in use. We'll change. We'll go to global and we'll set it to something. Then we'll come back. Okay, so I have removed it from the default coverage, and then I could see remove entitlements. So you need to click this remove entitlements so that it clears all the existing mapping, and then you can add entitlements. So now it asks the new criteria, that is service request status. I think it should be the service request type. It is not status. Let me change that field name. It's a service request type, right? So in manage metric classes, service subscription entitlements, here this should be type. Save and close. Now again, we'll go back to coverage, platinum coverage, then remove entitlements, add entitlements. Now choose the attributes for conditions, and choose the covered levels. And now we have this entry. So now we will select the condition severity as high. Okay, and channel type, will keep it blank, and service request type, so I'll select as some values defined here. Calendar, I'll choose weekdays 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. First response, I'll still choose 30 minutes and warning threshold 10 minutes. Resolution 60 minutes and warning, so 10 minutes before. This is my criteria. So let me quickly go to service request. Okay, so these are the service request drop-down values. The backend codes are also same, so I'm copying the same. So I'm using here as registration as my service request type. So if severity is high and if service request type is registration, then and these values needs to be populated. So I'll click on save. Then I'll go back to the default coverage. I'll add back the platinum coverage at global level. Okay, and I'll publish these changes. Okay, now I'll create a new service request. Priority high and service request type as registration. Save and continue. We'll need to wait for some time so that the milestones will get applied. So in case of any debugging for milestones, so you can come to service entitlements, manage service request milestone configuration task. And here in actions, you can see view milestone diagnostics, and you can give the reference number for which you wanted to debug. Then click on check milestones, and you can see the milestones coming from, right, and which milestone uh, so is applicable. So we have defined, right, so 30 is our due and 10 is our warning times. So it is giving that, and from which coverage it came, and coverage type, and the schedule type defined for this BU, right? So it is saying yes, the applicable to this SR, it is yes. Okay, so this looks fine. So let's go back to service request and check. Let me quickly update here. Okay, so It's applying, but not the right one. Okay.
So sometimes what happens when we set up this subscription or milestone setup, it doesn't reflect immediately. So we can wait for some time and then it starts reflecting. So we have made the changes with custom field, right? Including in subscription coverage. So now let me create an SR with the criteria severity as high and then service request type as registration. And I'm clicking save and continue. Now I'll wait for some time. So now it should reflect with the latest milestones that we configured. Okay, if we go to milestone details, refresh. So if you don't see immediately, maybe you can click on this update service request milestones and then click on refresh. So the milestone should reflect here. So we can see first response metric was 30 minutes and resolution metric was 60 minutes. So it is working as expected with our configuration with custom field uh, in subscription coverage.